When a child is born, the world rejoices. Parents begin to see the universe in a new, unique light, as if everything is remade with a more vibrant color. But when an innocent is taken, the world begins to gray. Their child, their life, their love is gone, never to be seen again until they too pass on from this life. There are so many unanswered questions that will stay a mystery, but the one everyone wants to know is, how are they going to live without their child? How are they going to live while they're waiting?
They thought he had a stroke first. His vision changed and his mouth drooped a little. The second time he got sick, they did an MRI, and that's when they found the lesions in his brain.
Losing a child is it's the most traumatic experience I've ever had.
Our son is Adam Brown. He was a Navy SEAL. He had decided he was going to get out of the military, and this was going to be his very last deployment. During that last deployment, they came under a heavy fire, and Adam was mortally wounded. He died in the Hindu Kush mountains of Afghanistan.
Our daughter went to heaven when she was 17. She was diagnosed with brain cancer when she was a sophomore in high school. She started having some balance issues, some headaches, nausea, things like that. We took her to the doctor and ultimately found out that it was due to a brain tumor.
He accepted the news of brain cancer with peace and without fear.
She battled her cancer for a year. She had chemotherapy, radiation, lost all of her hair, which is tough on a 16-year-old girl.
When we were in Children's Hospital waiting on surgery, and my wife, Jill, had gone home to get some rest, and we were trying to go to sleep, and she said, "Dad, I got to tell you something." And she said, "Dad, our lives have been calm waters. We hadn't had any storms. But I want you and Mom to know that I prayed for a storm that God might use me." And that was a comfort to know that God was working in her life before we even knew that she had cancer.
She fought her battle with grace and with courage, and she went to heaven in February of 2009.
A baby's chances for survival increases 3 to 4% per day. By the time the child is 9 years old, the mortality rate is 5%, and at age 18, it lessens to 3%. We know the statistics, but what happens to the parents left behind when an unfortunate tragedy occurs?
One of the first things is the denial. This is not real. This is, I'm gonna wake up, this is a dream. And you realize pretty early on that it's real.
You feel like most of your other friends and some relatives, they're uncomfortable when you bring up your deceased child's name, but you don't ever feel that way when you talk to someone in this ministry.
In this setting, we all want to hear about their children, and if they cry, it doesn't bother us.
They know that it's important to you that people don't forget the wonderful person that your child was.
There are different ways to deal with the death of a child. Many parents seek support from churches, friends, or family, but the people who truly understand are the ones who have been in the same kind of situation.
We tried to seek out people that had lost children to spend time with them and to learn from them and to be encouraged by them. And then the Browns, we went to church with them, but we really didn't know them. But after Adam went to heaven, we invited them to lunch one day.
And we ended up having a 3.5-hour lunch. And that was a day that we were able to talk about Adam, to share him, to cry, to laugh. And Brad and Jill were there, and they didn't care we were crying or laughing. And that was the best day that I had felt since Adam went to heaven.
It doesn't take long after you lose a child to discover that everything has changed in your life and in your world and in your relationships with other people. And one of the things that helped us probably the most from the very beginning was spending time with other parents who understood the experience of losing a child. My husband and I had actually attended a retreat for bereaved parents in Nashville, Tennessee, and it had been something that was very, very helpful and beneficial for us. And so we came home from that retreat wanting to start something like that here in Arkansas, and just didn't really know how to start, just really didn't know what to do to kind of get that going. And when we met the Browns, we told them about it, and they just kind of were ready. They just jumped right in and said, well, let's do it. When we first started doing these retreats, obviously we didn't have this retreat center. We used Family Farm Christian Day Camp. And we had our first retreat in April of 2011 there at Family Farm, and we've been doing them ever since.
We didn't know how we were going to fund this. First retreat that we had, we charged for that retreat. And we realized in the middle of the retreat that that's not what we needed to do. So in that first retreat, we gave them their money back. Since then, God has provided the resources to host retreats and to build this facility. So we do this for free.
In 2014, 9,586 adolescents passed away due to various tragedies, and with each child that passes, they leave behind the ones who raised them, cared for them, and loved them. In the same year, 19,172 adults were left to figure out how to live on without their child.
We had been doing them for about 4.5, 5 years, and the demand got to where we would have someone want to come to a retreat, and we were borrowing facilities and going different places. And when we realized that people were wanting to come to our events, and we would have to tell them, you know, it's going to be a year. You're telling a parent that's just lost a child and they're seeking help and looking for it, and it breaks your heart to tell them, well, yeah, see if you can make it a year before, and then we'll try to get you in. And we realized that we needed, the demand was so great that we needed a place where we could do them ourselves and have control of when and where. God kind of led us to this place, and Janice and I used to live here, and it was available, and so we said we just felt like God was calling us to expand it, and we added about 6,000 square feet to this existing home, and that's where we are now.
A lot of the things are sponsored. That's one of the ways that God provided the funds for this project, is we've allowed parents the opportunity to sponsor different areas in memory of their children. It's just kind of a neat way that our families have kind of been able to be involved with this project. Yeah, you know, one thing that happens when you lose a child or you go through a difficult time is everybody gives you a book. I know after Hannah died, we had a book, a pile of books this tall. It was important to me to have good quality books to read, because I am a reader. And so we just kind of have a collection of books that were helpful to us personally, to those of us in our group, and books that we would recommend to parents. This library is part of our sitting room. It's just kind of a relaxed area. On the other side of this sitting room is what we call the Life Song Room. And the Life Song Room is where we talk about our children's lives. We tell our parents, it's not necessary to focus on their death. The important thing is that our children lived, not that they died. So we want to hear about their lives, and that's why we call it the Life Song Room. If you go on down the hallway, you get into our guest room wing, and we have 10 guest rooms, and they're set up like hotel rooms, but they're more homey than hotel rooms. Each one is a different color, just as your bedrooms might be at home. Each room has 2 full-size beds. It has a little closet area. It has a nice bathroom with a shower, and so it's very homey.
There's a lot of unique things about this retreat that's been added by the people that we've met. They've done special designs with railings, and they've made different things that just makes this facility unique. And one thing that is special about this facility is a gentleman took the old front doors from this house, and he built a hall tree. When we set it up into the atrium where we have it placed, he says, I've got one more thought. This facility is here because Adam and Hannah went to heaven, and to put something of theirs, hang them on that hall tree. So we have Hannah's letter jacket from Magnet Cove, and we have something from Adam when he was in SEAL training in BUDS, one of his uniforms. that are just a reminder when we walk in that why we're here. We're here because our kids are in heaven.
I kind of had to look at my life and think, you know, I might live 30 or 40 or maybe even 50 years before I get to see Hannah again. And what am I going to do with that time while I'm waiting?